That is so risky that you could work for 20 years or 10 years or 30 years and still be subject to just being cut within maybe a few conversations behind the scenes that you don't know about. That's risky to me. So the biggest risk that you can take is to not take one and not build a skill set where you're in as much control of the effort and time that you put in. Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Hope everyone's doing great, having a great week, and you've been enjoying our content on a regular basis. I really appreciate everybody tuning into the lives on a regular basis, showing that commitment and support. That does mean a lot. You've been here from the very start as the channel grows. And like I've said from the very beginning, the more that you invest into the channel invests back into you. I really appreciate the feedback. We've had so many messages recently about how much value you take on a consistent basis. So sharing these videos, making sure you're subscribed to the channel, like, commenting, and just engaging overall and letting us know what you want to see. That really does mean a lot, as we've got some very, very exciting plans for the evolution of the Falcon channel. So to be part of this from the very, very beginning is truly something special, especially as we grow into more things as well, which I'm very much looking forward to. This episode, what I want to talk about is something that people get this thrown around to them a lot, and sometimes it probably gets quite annoying. And let me know if you resonate with this. You may even have family members or friends say, oh, isn't trading a little bit risky? It's just gambling, is it? It's just glorified gambling. Why would you do that? Yet people right now are feeling the pinch with the global pandemic that have relied on one source of income, have not done anything about it, and they lose their job with a click of a finger. So you then look at it from a different point of view now, where people are actually waking up and realizing, oh, hold on a minute. Is trading risky, or is it the individual? Because it's not actually the system, it's always the individual. If someone comes into trading and they start risking 50% of their account per trade, then it's got nothing to do with the system, it's the individual. So it's not that trading is risky. Can it be risky? Of course it can. But it depends who's behind the computer, it depends who's behind the app, who's placing the trades. That's who is risky. So if you're sticking to risk management at 1% per trade, then if you've got a probabilistic edge and a model that plays out over time, then it's got nothing to do with being risky. The biggest risk is not taking the risk and relying on one job, one source of income, and you could do something you don't even like and you can still get cut. Actually reminds me of something that Carrey was talking about before. There's probably a YouTube clip that you can go find this. He was talking about his father, who could have been a comedian, but then he took a safe job as an accountant and he worked there for like 20 or 30 years, and then he got made redundant, he got let go. And what that taught him is that you can spend all of your life doing something that you don't want, that you think is safe, and that you still get cut. So you may as well take a chance on doing something that you love. That really hit me. Now, I've been doing this since 2008, and it's been a very difficult journey up until this point, but all the way through, I knew that there was something bigger. It wasn't just about trading alone. It was having the freedom to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. And that's what it was really about with me. So with Forex, it's not about, oh, is trading risky? Is this risky? The biggest risk you can take is sitting there and just relying on one thing. And if the pandemic hasn't woken you up, then I've got no hope for you, because this should be the biggest wake-up call to you. So many of you have probably been let go, made redundant, or you're on furlough, or you don't know whether you're going to go back to work and what to do, and you're questioning all of your life. I get it. I can only imagine how you might feel. But if you've been flirting with the idea of wanting to learn how to trade, then is there a good time to learn to trade? Now, definitely now, more so than ever. Yesterday, you need to be acquiring a skill, whether it's trading or not, but we're going trading specific right now. A lot of you that have been, let's say, in the trading space for a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3 to 6 months, you'll realize how important that decision was for you to actually learn how to become an asset and have a skill set that you're not relying on anybody else. It's not about you coming with a mindset that you're going to get rich quick overnight and that now you should learn how to trade because in the next 3 months then you're secure. It doesn't work like that. It's still going to take time for you. But if we're going to go down the road of risk, if we're going to go down that road, then what is actually risky when you really think about it? If I think about when I was an engineer, that would be risky, because if I would have worked my way up to be a principal engineer and working on some really cool projects, because that was the goal originally when I was around that 18-year-old, right now, if I was in that position where I was off work and I don't know whether I'm going to go back, I can only imagine what that would have felt like. Because I remember when I got made redundant, that was a horrible feeling, and that was nothing to even do with something like a pandemic. So now more than ever, people are questioning. They're trying to figure out, How do I actually want to live my life? Oh, I can actually work from home. Well, if you're working from home, then you have more capacity to do other things. You're actually in a position where you can learn another skill. And then if you are let go, for example, then you're not scrambling around worried about whether you can pay your mortgage or pay your rent or still live your lifestyle. You can actually feel confident in yourself knowing that you're not just reliant on one source of income. So it's about coming into trading with the mindset that, is trading risky? Well, I'll let you be the judge, because it's the individual. If you're a risky person, then yes, trading is risky for you. However, if you're someone that can follow a plan, you can follow instructions, you're able to be molded, you're willing to learn, you're willing to adopt some habits, real simple stuff, then you can do it. But no one can control the person behind the screen. You can give someone a system, say, right, stick to 1% of your account per trade. So let's say you're trading a £10,000 account and you're risking £100 per trade. If you risk £100 per trade, it's very difficult to blow your account. However, if the person behind the screen decides that they want to put on £1,000 per trade, I can't stop them. You see what I mean? So it's the individual. 10 of those trades, you're out. Some people even go further and they risk something silly like £2,000 of their account, and they've got a £10,000 account, and they wonder why that they lose. But sometimes in the worst case scenario, what happened? Well, best case scenario is that you actually lose, right? Worst case scenario is that one of those trades actually work, because then what happens? You start to build this habit that, well, I only need one of these trades and then I'm going to do well. So it doesn't matter how many times I lose. And because you've actually experienced winning certain times, that plays with your psychology, because you think, oh, everybody else is wrong. People keep saying about risk. You've got to put some risk in. You've got to put yourself on the line and risk it all, because you've experienced one moment when that's happened. And let me know if you resonate with this or you've been doing that. Most of these people have blown accounts, or they're on the way to blowing the account. So it's never that trading is risky. It's more so people saying that they're uneducated. They fear what they don't understand. They're basing this knowledge off of a Bloomberg, or for things like this, or just ads or films that they've seen. That's not how it works. If you're trading a system and you've got risk management in place, at least you're focusing on something that you can control. So if we now compare the two to, you're working in a career where, let's say you've got some responsibilities. However, you could be let go or be sacked from your job next week or within a month's notice, whatever your notice period is, just because maybe that part of the business isn't performing well and that you're one of the people that gets cut. Then what are you going to do? Oh, you've got to apply for another one, apply for a different job, and then you don't know whether the pathway and all the effort and time that you've spent, whether it's actually going to amount for anything. Where on the flip side, that to me, that's so risky. That is so risky that you could work for 20 years or 10 years or 30 years and still be subject to just being cut within maybe a few conversations behind the scenes that you don't know about. That's risky to me. So the biggest risk that you can take is to not take one and not build a skill set where you're in as much control of the effort and time that you put in. So when I look at it that perspective, I'm seeing everybody else as, you're the big risk takers. If anything, we're conservative. So on the other side, we're actually taking control of our future by putting in the hours, putting in the work, sticking to low risk management and being able to become an asset and then be able to take advantage of our future. So when you look at it on the other side, you can see how maybe a trader looks at it. So for any of you looking from the outside in thinking, I want to get involved in Forex, or if any of you traders have this constantly from your family, for your friends, share this video with them. Share this video, give them some perspective. Don't waste your time and energy trying to convince people all the time. Just let me do that. So it's a lot easier for you, because I know what it feels like. Even I still get it to this day. People still can't get out of their own way because they don't want to accept that doing something else is actually less risky. Because remember, it's not their fault, and it's not your fault if you're listening to this for the first time, because we've been sold on this idea that security comes from a job. That's what it is, right? Work your way up, financially secure, get a stable career. And in some certain scenarios, that may be true. Certain things like, if you're a doctor, you're likely going to be able to stay as a doctor. If you're a good doctor, you've trained, you're not just going to get let go next week. But I'm talking about this generally. Of course, there are jobs that are very, very secure, but I mean, overall, you don't want to put yourself in a position where your future can just be cut just like that without real any say-so. Wouldn't you rather put yourself in a position where you have the confidence to say, well, the effort and time that I put in right now will pay me a reward in the future? Whether that is in the next 12 months, 2 years or 3 years, at least I'm building a skill that will enable me to do that. That's the most powerful thing. That's the thing that stands out to me. And for a lot of our students that are doing that, they understand that concept and they're putting in the hours, they're treating this like a business. So can trading be risky? Going back to that, of course it can, but it's the individual. If you're a risky person, then maybe Forex isn't for you. But like I said, if you can just follow some rules and you're willing to learn, you're willing to adapt, willing to be patient, you don't have to be the most intelligent person in the world. That's not how it works. One of the biggest things, and I talk to the community about this a lot, one of the biggest things that I love about trading is that it's level playing field. What do I mean by that? Level playing field essentially means that you're not judged by the market at all. The market's not looking at you going, right, you're from Peru, so you can't be successful, or you're 5'7", so that means that you can't be successful, or you're from this culture or from this race, skin color, religion, whatever it is, right? We can go down the rabbit hole as deep as we want. You're not judged by anything. It doesn't matter how tall you are, what you look like, etc. All you are judged by is the effort and time that you put in. What an empowering thing to be able to do. Because there are situations where maybe people are more fortunate in those situations, whether you've got this job or you've got this opportunity because of this and that. Where with trading, it's all about how much time are you willing to invest? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to adopt successful habits of successful people that encourages you to be successful? And are you willing to be patient and be around the right people? See, it's not judged by anything else. And that's what I love about trading as a whole. So the biggest risk that you can take is by firstly not taking a risk. So understand that concept. Then from the point of view of, is trading risky? No, it's the individual itself. So as long as the system that you're following follows good risk management, then you're in a good place. And then how long are you going to wait to do something about it? Because this could last another 6 months, another 12 months, pandemic. Before you know it, 2 years has gone by and you're scratching your head thinking, can't believe it's been 2 years. And you've still sat there watching Netflix and you've still not done anything about it. Time is going to go by anyway. So you may as well do something that sets you up to win in the future. Time is the most precious commodity we have and you can't get it back. So rather than watching the news, complaining, moaning about when's the world going to go back to normal, do something about it. Use these hours wisely. Use these hours right now, especially from now until the end of the year. There's so much momentum that you can make. So you're not writing off this year thinking, oh, 2020 was just, it was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? It's like you're giving yourself an excuse. I get it. It's not been good for everybody. There's been some very, very bad situations and I feel for people all over the world. I've been affected by it from my family as well. So I can completely resonate and have empathy for that. But the one thing that you need to realize now more than ever, this is the biggest wake-up call that you need to become an asset. You need to be building skill sets that you can rely on, not everybody else. Because that doesn't build financial freedom. That doesn't build financial independence for you to achieve your goals. That is more risky by you not doing something about it. I hope this video becomes a wake-up call for you because we get one life, so you may as well spend time learning something that gives you the ability to be free. It's not about Forex. Forex is a vehicle that gets you the freedom. Now, this is, of course, assuming you're trading a system that doesn't require you to be by the charts and be by the screen all the time. That's not how we trade. But trading a way that you've got the freedom, because once you have the freedom, you can focus on things that you're passionate about. You might be a videographer. You might be a cook that you like to spend your time cooking. You might like to skateboard. You might like to surf, rock climbing. You might like to play golf. Whatever it is, wouldn't you like to have more time on your hands and be building your future, building your portfolio, growing your wealth, and actually having the time to spend on things that you're passionate about, that actually make you happy, that make you feel fulfilled? Maybe it's helping others. Put yourself in a position where you can do that. So something for you to think about. I hope this video finds you well. I hope it resonates with you. I would love to know your thoughts. And of course, like I say, I have the deepest empathy for those of you that have been affected. But at the same time, it's time for us to toughen up. It's time for us to realize that we have the internal power to do it, but it's our perspective on the matter and level of urgency that we need to approach in this time for us to take full advantage. Guys and girls, as always, I appreciate you tuning into the content. Hope you found lots of these parts very valuable for you. And just overall, we're very, very excited for the things moving forward. I'm excited for how the market conditions are shaping up. Even from a perspective at Falcon, we trade very simplistic. We keep things very, very simple and systemized. But the one thing that has shown me lately is that if you look at over the last 30 years of data, the way that we trade is congruent with that. So if we look at the patterns, they've been consistently playing out. This is why we talk about structure is king. You may have seen some of our previous episodes as why market structure is king. And the reason as to why is these patterns consistently play out. Yet even in the coronavirus period, even in the pandemic, it still plays out. So if there was ever a reason for you to follow a system that is not going to be influenced by elections and by news and all this type of stuff, it would be the fact that these patterns consistently play out. Now, some of these patterns are simple, but at the same time, you need to understand the variations, the system, the rules, the risk management of how to follow it. And once you do, you have a system that you can follow that, I mean, what more do you want? You know, there's a pandemic, this is affecting things globally, and these structures still play out. So that has given us a lot of confidence even more that it really doesn't matter. These human psychology, the patterns, it's still going to repeat itself. So all you need to do is have an edge with your system that is congruent with these things that are constantly repeating themselves. And then you've got a formula for success for the long term. That is the most empowering thing. So guys and girls, hope you have an incredible weekend wherever you are in the world. I appreciate you tuning in as always. Let us know in the comments your number one takeaway from this. And like I said, share this video with people and just realize that the people that are taking the biggest risks are by not taking one at all. Have an incredible weekend, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.